My name is Kahlil Martin.
My name is Michael Prince.
So, how are we going to start it off today?
Really no plans, just vibes, just life updates. Anything that sparks creativity, curiosity.
Okay, we're here for the vibes.
All right.
I think Alani is the unofficial host, so
Yeah.
Okay, so am I setting the tone for the
Yes.
vibes?
yeah. And plus,
Okay.
you're an actor too. So.
Okay, so who wants to be first to give the update? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Hood Orchestra, why it started, and where it is now?
Let's see. Why Hood Orchestra started? Started because I went viral from teaching, and I felt bad about going viral from teaching when it's like I wasn't a teacher. So I needed to figure out a way to continue to teach. So it didn't just seem like I was just, using a school to like promote my own brand, because it's like from the outside in, it could look like that. But for me, it's like that was me reaching a very pivotal point in my career and realizing my purpose. And it was really like a passion fulfilled, because it's like I was in music education for 2 years. I stopped doing it because I wanted to like go pursue a doctorate degree so I could be able to go and teach everywhere whenever, and that kind of was possible because of social media. And now it's just kind of like blossomed even more to just, it's just been a journey in finding my purpose and finding out how to make my purpose like impact other people.
That's beautiful.
Lovely. So, if you could give a quick synopsis about what Hood Orchestra is, what it represents, what would you say? How would you describe it?
I would describe it as creating music that represents your hood and represents where you come from and how that shapes the way you just view music, and then on a larger level how you view the world. It's like a lot of people don't realize like the hood is the hood to whoever's hood it is. Like
The
hoods are so different, like so different, because like, and it's funny because like the word hood is like a derogatory term where people think, oh, that's the worst part of wherever, whatever city you're in. Like they just be like, oh, you're from the hood if you're from this place. But it's like people don't realize like the hood here is not the hood somewhere else. And for me, it's like I saw the hood in Houston, then I saw the hood in Vallejo, and I'm like, well, what really is the hood? What does that even really mean? And so I kind of like take that same kind of like principle to my music, and it's like when people hear my music, they're like, well, is this hood music or is this classical music, or it's like I just like confusing people. So yeah.
That was lovely. Again, a little bit more practically. Hood Orchestra is a nonprofit that works on bringing music education to underserved communities. But that was also all very beautiful. But just to surmise, you know. Kahlil, let's pass the mic to you.
Okay.
What have you been up to? What's going on? What's new in your life?
Man,
Tell us a little bit about where are we?
Man, so right now we're in Collab Social. This is like my very first real business, I would say. So this is like it's been a year in the making. We literally just passed the year mark, so I'm very blessed and thankful about that. But Collab Social is a 24/7 creative hub for creatives and entrepreneurs. So we provide services such as co-working. We provide, podcast equipment, podcast studios, private studios, recording studios, all of that. But it's all housed inside of a virtual community to where people can connect, collaborate. Literally 24/7 is right in your pocket. There's people in there from California. There's people in there from Florida. There's people in there from Houston. So it's all about bringing people together, connecting the world's brightest minds together, and creating a way to where we can all basically connect. Um, and yeah, so that's what we are in here doing today, recording a podcast, um, and just doing that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Actually, fun fact, this is where we all met.
Literally.
Yeah. And this is how, some of everything got started, all through his work.
Facts. Well, it's not. It's God's work.
Oh.
I'm just a vessel. I'm
Mm.
just doing that. So, but yeah, I do remember the day Alani came in here. She wore black and leather. I remember that, and she had straight hair.
Full set. It was
Michael
pretty
came
iconic.
in here for content day and decided to get on the roof. It was a lot of stuff going on all at once, and I don't think I could ever see the things that were transpiring. So I think it's beautiful.
Yes, it all was very beautiful.
So segue into that, can you tell me a little bit more about what you've been doing? What's been, cooking with you?
First, we know about Michael's background in history, and how he got into music. But can you tell us a little bit about your background in history and how it translates to what you're doing now, and then also your association with Hood Orchestra? Then we can get to me, I promise.
Please, yes. So I literally started in mechanical engineering. That's what I went to school for. So I had nothing to do with camera, creative, or anything like that. When I was younger, though, I did used to make elite socks. I used to dye them and sell them different colors.
Always been an entrepreneur.
Yeah, on the low. But when I got to college, like literally, I joined a fraternity. I did all the stuff, student organizations. But I kept finding myself creating graphics. Kept finding myself like leading and creating organizations, and I got put into the middle of nowhere for engineering, right? Like the middle of nowhere. Um, and I was losing it, man. I was like, bro, why am I working outside, hard hat boots, doing all this like real work? I didn't go to school for this. Well, technically I did, but you know what I'm trying to say. And then I went and bought a camera, and I did one photo shoot, and then people just kept giving me money to take pictures, and I didn't understand it because I'm like, all I'm doing is pressing the camera. And then I just kept going, was blessed enough to get into videos, and then I started like having a studio in my 1 bedroom apartment. So I would invite people over. I went to one studio, purchased, all the stuff. I seen all the stuff in one studio. I was like, bro, I could do this myself. Like, I just bought all the stuff. And then I bought all the stuff. And then I kept doing photo shoots in my crib. And I was like, I'm going to do a studio. Had this idea for Collab Social. 2 years, passed. And I kept doing photo shoots in the studio. Then I ended up going to New York. I looked up on all the billboards and seeing that, like, wow, this is so inspiring. But I know how to do every single thing on the billboard. I said either one, I'm scared, or I'm just not applying myself enough. Then I came back to Houston, and I don't know, something happened, and next thing I know, I was signed a lease for a space, and we are here.
Wow, what a lovely story.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Like, up until my like junior year of high school, I wanted to do mechanical engineering too. And then it's like I looked up all like the degree requirements and all the stuff that you do, and I was like, I'm gonna just audition for music. And literally, like, I was looking at OU for mechanical engineering.
They're a good engineering school.
Yeah. Then ended up doing music.
Wait, you said you did mechanical engineering?
Yeah.
Yes, I have a degree in mechanical engineering, yes.
I also wanted to do mechanical engineering leaving high school. Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. Wow. I don't know why it didn't click until he said also. I thought you had been saying electrical engineering for some reason. But
Mechanical.
yeah, wow. What a coinky dink, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? And like, I feel like engineering, all it did was just teach me how to think differently. Because it's all about, designing stuff, reverse engineering stuff. So when you look at anything business wise or anything like that, it's the same thing. It's like you have an idea in mind of what you want, and you have to figure out how to strategically create a plan to achieve it. And so I think my brain is just wired very differently because I'm extremely creative and all of that jazz. But the engineering side just allows me to solve problems at a very high caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which he does.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so where is Hood Orchestra today?
Well, first of all, we're getting to you, Ms. Blair.
Oh, yes, a little bit about me, Miss Blair. In college, I actually ended up studying business marketing at the University of Texas. I had a certificate in ethics and leadership in law, politics, and government, and a minor in African American studies. And I think the marketing side is what kind of led Michael and I together. I guess just seeing where I could be of service to him and Hood Orchestra. And, first we started off with me like helping kind of manage what he was doing, just like in his personal career. And then it went more into like the Hood Orchestra stuff. And that's what I do mostly now. Helping with that. And then, but what led me here was like my senior year of college, I wanted to get into like acting and modeling because I spent a semester in LA where I worked in production management. And I was doing that for a semester. And so I was kind of in the entertainment industry and learning the ins and outs of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have always loved acting. So then I did a play, and through that, I kind of got into modeling. And after I moved back to Houston after college, I was like, I would like to, meet up with more creatives in Houston and see what everybody is up to and maybe do a little bit of creative directing and things of that nature, just like more creative things. And that's what led me to collab.
Very first event, actually.
Yeah, the very first event, I was there. And it was so crazy because I had seen, I think, the Instagram because somebody had, oh, Raven. I think Raven had done a photo shoot here, And I was like, what's this? What's going on there? I would love to like kind of work with them and do stuff with them. And so I went to the meeting, and now look, here we are. Manifesting. So lovely.
Do you style or anything like that? What else do you do?
Oh, yeah. So currently I'm a celebrity stylist. I went to New York Fashion Week this past September, and I styled Serena Page, and I have a couple other clients that I will be styling coming up. So that's what I do now outside of Hood Orchestra, as well as modeling. A little bit about me. Okay, so what's going on with Hood Orchestra now?
Let's see. I've just like dedicated this whole year to just like doing as many concerts as possible because I feel like the concerts are like the culmination just of like the vision when people are able to like physically get in the room and experience the music because a lot of people hear it and it's like they don't realize like, oh, this is a instrument, like a real life person doing this instrument and like improvising and just making things happen. So doing the concerts has been like kind of just like a goal. This year we did, I think, four, maybe four this year concerts and just getting in the master classes again. I just like students need to like it's almost like their eyes get open when it's like I get into the class and they see someone that looks like them. Like I come in there with a hoodie and Crocs and they're like, whoa, who is this? Like this isn't a teacher. And then I like tell them, oh yeah, I actually do this like every day for like a living. And they're like, what? And then like the kids ask me, they're like, do you also play basketball? I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to play basketball. That's not my living. And I can still play basketball whenever I want. But it's like, this is something that you can do that's different, that you can actually like achieve. So that's just kind of been the goal. And then just like overall, really once we get that like community music center built, I feel like that's just going to be the major thing that like opens the eyes of just everyone in the industry and around the world because Houston's such a large city that it's like seeing that like come to pass like independently and just people hearing the story, it's like we already have a crazy story. We have a crazy amount of content, like hours and hours and hours, like resumes of just like doing the thing, but it just needs to be highlighted and seen by the right person. So it's like there's really no rush at this point. It's just like, oh, they'll know, and if they don't, they don't.
So I do have a question though. When you say it's just waiting for the right person to see it, so how do you get the right person to see it?
Uh,
And who is that
And
right
who
person?
is the right person?
Who is the right person? 'Cause that's a great question.
who's the right person? The right person is anybody that has $1.3 million.
Okay,
Like
so if you're
literally,
Capital,
that's
okay,
that's
capital.
it. When I was sitting in like ASAP Rocky's, you know, third vacation home in the center of New York City, I'm like, bruh, all I really would need to do is have a sit down conversation with someone like this that could easily just write a check and be like, here, just do what you need to do. And I know it's not that simple, but it's like it's really that simple.
It could be that
It's
simple.
really that simple. And it's like that's why I've just been like trying to build a resume so when that moment does come, it's like we can be like, oh, we did all this with like just, you know, three people just putting our heads together, just going off vibes and just doing stuff. So imagine if we actually had, you know, a huge team or just huge amount of money to do stuff. Like even like collab social, the fact that this is like we've seen this grow to this point and this is really like one of the only creative spaces I know of in Houston, and it's like I've lived in Houston my whole life, so it's like this stuff is like revolutionary stuff that we're doing. It just has to be seen by the right people.
Facts. Brick by brick. So that means now the thing is, for the right person to see it, they have to have capital. So then it starts to get, where are the people with the capital? Where do they be at? And how do you get them to come to stuff that is sponsored by Hood Orchestra?
That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing a gala. So the word gala just reminds me of something that like people would do if they're like, you know, people that are important, you know. It's like important people will go to galas. So how do you make what?
One thing,
That's true, yeah. Probably people go to Gallup.
one thing I have been watching like LaRussell do is like he's always been big on me. Like he's always challenged me to like really like build like revenue from the community itself versus like going to the top in the organizations. Like he's always been like, you want. He's like, a not all money is good money, and then like B, he's like, you want white people's money to fund your like black people dream or something. And it's like something that I've kind of just had to like think about even when applying for grants for these big like companies like Foot Locker and stuff. It's like I need to figure out where all the like-minded like people like me that I've made it with the money and you know the black business owners and black businesses and stuff like that's where I want to start, which is why I'm just trying to start within the community and finding those people that are actually like so invested in the community versus just like moving out to Cyprus or whatever because it's like people don't know Beyonce's from Third Ward. Who else is from Third Ward? Her sister Solange. So it's like we have the people. It's just we just aren't
I think
putting
the
the
gala could
money
be
into the right places
facts.
and having people from outside of our neighborhood gentrifying our neighborhood and making it their own when it's like we're one of the most historic spots like in the world.
Yeah, we have the people, we have the talent, just building the foundation so that they can stay here and they don't feel the need to go to places like LA and New York to make it big, like having the resources here right down the street so they can build themselves up in their home and give back to the communities here. So yeah.
Starts with, of course, capital. We're building spaces that where people can grow and take it to the next level. I think that's the disconnect is that like for a creative, it's almost like if you're really serious about like, let's say for instance, you're really serious about being a DP, a director of photography, or a model or something. You almost feel like it's required that in order to make it to the next level, you have to go to like a New York or like a LA.
Yeah.
And so I think that is the disconnect, is that people get to a certain level and then they go to other places. They come back sometimes, but I feel like they're like, okay, boom, I want to go to the places where it's popping at. So it's like, okay, it's going to take 1 or 2 or 5 people to like basically make Houston poppin', to where people are like wanting to stay here. So that starts with like having the infrastructure, like having the studio spaces to where the big organizations can actually come here and create the work. That's actually having the facilities and stuff to where like, you can do a whole album here and it's comfortable because you have the right spaces. Um, it starts a lot of that. And I feel like the gala, if you ask me, is a great way to get sponsors and donations and find those who's. Because if you're very strategic, you can create a whole list of who's and then strategically invite them to this event and cater to them, give them a good time, play music, all that stuff like that. But allow them to actually experience and see what is going on in a way that is curated specifically by you. And you're just strategically like, this is for this specific type of person, you know?
Yep.
And I feel like that would probably help find the who, because all you got to do is find the who on the internet and find a way to invite the who. They can say yes, they can say no, but you have a platform, so it's like you could reach out to some who's that are more known, There's the Bun B's and all the stuff like that that are already in Houston, but then there's other people that are black people that just have money. Like, if you find them, invite them to this extremely nice gala, they're gonna feel included because they're like, oh, I like nice things. Nice people go here. This is where the important people are. Find a few organizations that may be able to sponsor, um, and then yeah, just host a gala.
Yep. And it's crazy because like we once we find like all the big, huge, influential people that are regular people, like regular humans, like have gone through, oh, we made it the same way, or like, oh, we wanted to be a mechanical engineer, but then we started pursuing our creative dreams. It's crazy because like almost everybody that are at the tops of the music industry, like really, really at the top, it's like they made it from like nothing and they understand the grind and the story and whatever. So it's like once we tell those people the story and then basically be like, oh, we're just trying to give opportunities to more regular people, to us to have access to like a recording studio or a studio space, to even like know that it's possible to make it. Because a lot of people like, I'm be like, why don't you record music? Why don't this? They'd be like, oh, I don't have a camera. Oh, I don't have, you know, an instrument. Oh, I don't have violin lessons. Like, people just look at me and are like, oh, you're just super talented. And I'm like, no, I just practiced a lot. Like, it was free for us to get instruments with our school. Like, they just don't have that anymore. But yeah, just regular people. Just gotta find those regular people.
We're just ordinary people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think this is a very good discussion.
Very great.
Yep.
Great.
Is this our stopping point?
I mean, if there's anything more,
Are there any notes?
you're the host, so
Oh,
you forgot your host.
no, I just thought we were all coming together to decide to stop now. Because I wanted to do the outro. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Anything to
Anything of significance that you feel like you hadn't mentioned yet? Any other Hood Orchestra highlights?
it's just crazy, just like how much like more I've just leaned on faith this year versus just like stressing out about stuff, and everything's just naturally just like gotten just crazy and hectic. Like literally this tour, planning out the tour, I was just like, I'm just gonna block out a month and plan to be in these places at these times. But it's like in Oklahoma and in Denton, it's like stuff just happened. It's just like people got me doing events, people had me doing like podcasts. So it's like the content I have right now is crazy. And it's like, once I get it out and scheduled, and like I feel like the hardest thing we have to combat is just the algorithm and just having our story seen or heard. But like I'm telling you, once it's like one person sees it, it's like everyone's just gonna be like, ah, because it's like I've been watching the Russell, like he's huge right now, but like he could be even more ginormous if the people that actually had their eyes on him, like J. Cole and all of them, if they actually just like shouted him out or just like said something. But it's like it's clear they've been like kind of gatekeeping him because they want to keep the growth organic. And I feel like right now, like we have the ability as an organization to really like make it to the top by just grinding it out and doing it. And that's going to be so much more like inspiring to other people, because a lot of people are going to only see us at that moment but not realize, man, you've just been doing all this. And I'm glad that we've just been documenting it all, because it's really unreal to experience.
And I think one thing that we're focused on now is making it to a certain point, but I am so excited for the time when we make it there and how many people will be able to help once we get to that spot. Like how many people won't have to go through the process that we're going through, how many creatives will have that hub at the in the palm of their hand. Like that's going to be such an amazing time period. Um yeah. So, what is a message of inspiration or just something that you has or something that has really resonated with you recently? Like just a little thought that any of you guys have. Like either one. Or we can all say one.
For me, it's just like never stop like being creative, like never stop putting up those shots, never stop posting, never stop like grinding, because like when you stop, it's like there's no motion, like nothing. You can't expect something to happen if you're not doing something. But it's like I look back and it's like for me it's like things are just now starting to like actually manifest and actually happen. But it's like I look back and it's like I was posting videos in high school to like two viewers, like no one was watching it, but it's like I just kept doing it because I really love creating content. I love making the music and all that stuff, and I just continued to do it when I wasn't getting paid, when I wasn't like seeing engagement from it, because it's just like you just have to really love what you're doing if you want to make it to the next level. And it's like eventually like you'll be doing it and then you make it to the next level and you realize, oh, this level is just a reminder that you got to do it even more now. And it's just like you, as you excel, you're just going to have to keep doing it even more and work even harder just to be able to do it to the simplest level of just like playing the violin. Like I don't even get to play the violin during the day unless I put in all the work that comes with being able to play the violin whenever I want to. But it's just like it's just work. It's all work, and you just have to work. Don't get distracted. Don't get discouraged. Just have faith that it will pay off. And then one day it's just like boom, it was worth it.
Mm. Well, no, we're up all night to get lucky. You know, I just watched that movie Piece by Piece. It was like the Pharrell Williams like documentary, the Lego movie,
Oh, I didn't even
right?
know that was out yet.
Right. I watched it yesterday, because I just needed some inspiration. You know what I'm saying? And I watched it, and there's a few key things that I noticed in his story. So for 5 years, he said he made like 5 to 10 beats a day for 5 years before like anybody even like listened to the beats he was making.
How old is he?
He was out of high school, like he was like, just he was in that range, right? But he did that, and like in the movie, it kind of articulated and showed that like some of the beats he made were like some of his most popular beats during that time period, right? And nobody was literally listening, and he was trying to become an independent artist himself until he, after 5 years, like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell my beats, and then that's when like the Neptunes and just, you know. But all that's being said is like there's this consistent theme that I'm seeing with people that are highly successful or get to the next level. It's almost like you are ignoring um, the world standards. You're almost ignoring all the outside noise, and you're just like grinding, grinding, working for something that a few can see, but maybe a lot can't see, or maybe sometimes a lot of people see it, you know. But like you're putting all of this work and to pay off to like a certain moment, and like you said, you're gonna get to that moment, and then you realize, oh, it's just more work. But it's like you know that it's there if you just literally do the work, you know? And I think that is something that with Collab Social I am consistently seeing is that when I first started, I thought it was going to be an instant banger. Everybody was going to just flock here in droves. And I was going to be like, oh my goodness, this was the easiest thing ever. But it's become one of the hardest things ever because I'm consistently having to like show people like, this is what you can do here. This is da da da, right? But as I'm seeing it, I'm like, the people that are catching on early or the early adopters per se, their life is changing because they're experiencing something, you know? And so with that being said, is like life is all about getting as simple as you can possibly get and figuring out, okay, what is the one thing that I need to do daily to get to my goal? And I think when it comes to that, it becomes so simple. And I think it's just all a part of just not running away from the work. Pharrell said he made 5 to 10 beats a day for 5 years straight until he became Pharrell Williams. Kanye West liked himself doing 5 beats a day in his room for 3 summers. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Prince, like literally made videos every single day for 3 times a day for a year to 2 years before anybody ever seen a video. You know what I'm saying? Like just think about that and just know that like okay, if you take away the time that it takes, that means it's really just a matter of you just refining and getting to the point to where like it's going to be undeniable. And I think because of social media, um, damn, I'm talking so long, but because of social media, like you will be found. You know, it's just not a matter of if you will be; it's a matter of when. You know, and so the if is gone, I feel like is now a win. So it's like you just gotta really just do the work.
Yeah, and I think so too. It's important to note during those 5 years or 3 summers or 2 years, nobody is seeing what you're doing. All the work that you're doing is solely for yourself. And it's so that when you do get the recognition, you already have the resume. Like you already have everything you need to show people what you're made of and then just go full steam ahead. And I think that's where people like lose the momentum, like when they're not being recognized for what they're doing, but you just have to keep on doing it. So when the opportunity is presented to you, you don't have to get ready. You're already ready. Like you already have all the tools. You've already done all the practice. You've already done all the work. So now you can just show up and put your best foot forward. And then, go ahead.
For me too, it's like if you just have like confidence in what you're doing and like know that it's literally just faith. Like you just have to have really really strong faith because like nowadays I literally live every day like, oh, I'm gonna eventually have a Grammy. Like that's just like set in stone. It's gonna happen one day. So it's like until that day, I'm gonna do as much. I'm gonna release as much music to the point where it's like when I do get to that point, people aren't asking like, "Oh, where did he come from?" Like, "Oh, he's an industry plant." Oh, this that. It's like, nah. Here's every single thing that led up to that. And like for me, like the most recent thing that's about to drop is the Tiny Desk. Whenever that does release, it's like the Tiny Desk plus the ASAP Rocky album. Like when people like look and see Michael Prince and like who is Michael Prince? Who's the kid playing the violin? They look it up and then it's like boom, Michael Prince, Hood Orchestra, all this stuff. And then they're like, oh wow, he's like actually been working. And it's like a lot of times people also don't realize you were saying like that work for yourself, like nobody sees. Low key, a
People
lot of
see it.
times people do see it, and
At
it's
some
like
point,
they
yeah.
don't like the people that need to see it, like you never know who's watching, and
That's
just
true.
not like
They,
clicking the like button to give you that like dopamine rush that really
Ooh,
isn't
yeah,
real, or giving
yeah.
you that follow when it's
That's
like
true too.
it's much more serious in real life. It's like when they can see you and they meet you and they're like, oh yeah, I've been keeping up with you. And
Like, you
then you're
never
like,
really know
what?
who's watching. Like, there's
That's
someone right
so
now.
true.
There's probably someone right now that can press the button that can change your life, and they just sitting
But
there.
they just haven't yet.
They just sitting there like,
So you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it
Nah.
for all the invisible watchers.
Yeah.
the invisible
as well.
watchers, and
Got to.
then there's people that like
Oh,
they.
that's so
Then there's
true.
people that are watching you that they're not going to change your life, but you're changing their life because you're literally doing it.
Yeah.
And like the only reason why they're able to start their process, their journey, is because they seen you. And so it's like you're almost like the flame that is lighting them up. So it's like you never really know who you're impacting or
Yeah.
who's watching.
Absolutely.
And then
Keep
my
going.
bad. And this reminds me of this analogy. I say so. Basically, Nori, I think his name is Nori, right? He in the Pharrell movie, he was saying like when he first discovered the Neptunes and he did a beat with them, it was almost like when there's a new bakery shop that's in town. So for instance, like Collab Social, right? There's a lot of people that's saying like, "Yo, go check it out, but nobody's checking it out. And he said he left and he came back, and everybody was like all over this bakery shop. And it's like that's how I feel like it is. Like there's like people right now are like advocating for you. They're saying like, go check this out, and then one day people are gonna leave or not leave, but like it's gonna be like boom, and everybody's gonna be like, this is the hottest thing. It's just a matter of time. Like it's so crazy how it works.
I've been searching for like the recognition or a like or a follow from Metro Boomin for so long, and I'm realizing like, bruh, he's literally been watching you. Like I have friends in the music industry that are like, oh yeah, we send him your stuff all the time. It's like, but I'm so fixed on, oh, do I get a like? Do I get a follow? Because I'm like thinking that that's gonna do so much more than it's like people scroll so mindlessly and it's like, oh, 2 seconds like. It's not the same as like, oh, shaking your hand, like giving you a contact number, let's collaborate, let's work. Like it's so much more than what social media, like the image that's just been put in our minds our whole lives. It's crazy.
I also want to say never be afraid to forge your own path and do what is organic to you. Sometimes there's like a lot of like a one size fits all or like a predes- prede- predestined like path that people think they have to go on or a journey, but it doesn't look the same for anyone. And I don't think any of us have had like the typical journey into getting to where we are. Michael is out here teaching classes at colleges. He has no type of doctoral degree. Kahlil is out here running a creative hub, and he's a mechanical engineer by trade. I'm a business major, and I styled a celebrity for Fashion Week. I have no professional fashion training. So just follow your passions and follow what makes you feel good and what feels right. And it doesn't have to be, don't just do what you have the credentials for. Do whatever the fuck you want to. Whatever the freak, you can bleep that out.
I promise you'll get there.
Yeah, and you'll get there.
You'll get there eventually. The problem is people don't get there immediately, so they stop. And it's like, you could have just gone for 2 extra days and it would have changed your life if you would have just kept going. Like, literally, it's that easy.
Like the analogy of those two people who were mining, and one miner he had been like digging and digging and digging for like 3 months, and the other person had been digging for 3 years, and he stopped right before he was about to get to all the diamonds, and the other one just kept on going, and he made it there. Yep. Don't stop. Get to the diamonds. They could be right around the corner.
Literally.
All it takes is one, because one person change your life. It's so crazy.
If Drake liked your post, you know, you'd go through the moon. But it's like, what if you only got one like on the post? Or what if you got 2 likes? If you posted something, it got 1 view and 1 like, and then you were like, oh man, that's tough. And then the next like was Drake. Then you'd be like, what is life? And that's really how it is. Like social media is an algorithm. It's fake. It doesn't translate to real life growth, real life connections, real life community. So it's like that's social media, if anything, is just like a tool or an aid to get your name out there. But it's like you got to do that real work in real life too.
Yep. I think we said a lot of great stuff today, guys.
Fire. Perfect.
Agreed.
Good stuff.
Yep.
How are we feeling? Is there any more tidbits or information that anybody wants to share?
I am blessed.
Me too. I'm very blessed.
Me 3. Okay, well, let's close it out.
This has
ASMR.
been.
Shut up, Michael. This is ASMR, and this is the end of the Hood Orchestra podcast.
First ever.
First ever. Thank you guys so much for listening. My name's Alani Butler.
I'm Michael Prince.
I'm Kahlil B. Martin.
Have a beautiful and blessed day. Bye, guys.
Should we introduce Ernie? Ernie. Nah,
Ernie has been bad.
bad.
Bye, y'all.
All right.
All right, bye.
Fuego.
This was so cute.